Good morning, trainees. How are you this lovely Friday morning? It is my pleasure to present to you today the new electronic logbook. And I know some of you will say, again, another logbook. I think this is the final version of a logbook that will be utilized hopefully throughout the whole of Africa. But for now, South Africa and Namibia will be using this new logbook. If there is any changes, the changes will also be done electronically. It will also assist you in quantifying the models so that you've done a lot easier, as well as your training. Now, Council approved in November 2018 this new logbook, and the implementation date is the 1st of June. Now, I spoke to Professor Small last night, and we agreed that we can make it from the 1st of May so that you guys can already start loading your stuff up. I was privileged to attend the training already in Johannesburg, Bellville, and Saldanha. So I think as far as expertise is concerned, this side, you will receive enough input and know-how on how to do it. There are also some videos available if you struggle, but because you guys are so clever, you will know exactly what to do. So we've brought down Mr. Shashaba from SAIPA in Johannesburg. Mr. Shashaba, welcome to Namibia. Here's the trainees for you.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Good morning, trainees. Hope everyone is well today. The main purpose of today is to actually bring you up to speed with the launch of the new logbook. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background why we motivated this change. So we are currently using manual logbooks, especially here in Namibia. We're still using the manual logbooks. So at the moment, what we want is to actually align ourselves with fourth industrial revolution, which is approaching us. So you trainees, young people will understand that technology takes an important role in today's life. So the main purpose to move over from the manual to the new one is merely to actually modernize ourselves and then to make sure that everything that we are doing is actually aligned with the international standards as well. It's aligned with the international standard as well. So you're more than welcome while we are busy with this presentation to stop me anywhere where you have a question. You can type your question, and then we are more than willing to answer your question. So one of the most important things that you have to actually understand about this logbook is the onus now is on trainees. So it works in three different ways. So it's a three-legged pod, which is the principal, NIPA, and the trainee. So if NIPA has done their job and the ATC, which is the ATC principal, has done their job, the only person who will be left in that is you, the trainee, to actually do your functions on the logbook. But you must just remember that it's structured in a way that it tracks every progress that you are doing on your logbook. So should we find that you're not performing to the standard that we're expecting you to perform, it can easily be escalated to either NIPA or the ATC principle, whereby further actions will be taken if you are not performing. So but you'll see how it works. And then today what we're going to cover is we're going to concentrate more on how to. So you will focus more on how to use the logbook, how to upload this, and then how to structure your evidence, and how to actually understand what is really required as an evidence from you as a trainee. And one of the most important things that you have to take into account is people who are currently using the manual logbooks some of them will have to switch over to the new logbook, electronic logbook. But don't actually worry because the competencies are still the same. So what you're going to see, I'm going to show you two different types of competencies. So we have the old competency, which is matching exactly with what you have on your manual logbook. which is still structured in the old way. And then we have new competency, but the new competency will only apply to those trainees who will be coming in, I think maybe after June. So they will be solely on the new competency. But for now, if you are going to migrate over from the old logbook, which is the manual logbook, to the new one, the competency will be exactly the same and the codes will be exactly the same, descriptions as well. So the first thing that we need to do is the link to access this logbook is www.cyprlogbook.com. So you must make sure that when you're accessing this, so we have activated most of the trainees who have email addresses. So the email addresses were activated. I'm sure you have received an email from support@cyprlogbook.co.za. So if you haven't received that, please email.
No, they can somehow put it on this on the chat. Okay. Charlotte will then take it over.
Yes.
So you want to activate them today.
True. So if you haven't received the login details, just make sure that you type it here on the chat, and then we can take it from there. But if you have received your login details but you can't log in, you can also tell us that you can't log in. But most of you, if you have received your login details, you won't be able to log in until the logbook has been generated for you by your HCC principal, which today we're going to give them the login details as well. Prinsla, you're asking...
Everyone cannot see my screen. Charlotte? Somebody says they cannot see the screen. What must they do?
It's the internet connection.
Okay, can you please confirm if you can hear the sound, you can see the screen, and then we'll continue from there, because we really need to be on the same page when we start actually accessing
how
the
is
logbook.
the internet there?
Someone is typing.
Oh, sorry.
Problem.
Yeah. Charlotte, out of one of the email addresses is incorrect on the system. Guys, if you see that your email address is incorrect, can you quickly, because we don't want you now to go and find the email address, try and put it on this email, on this chat. Charlotte is here. She can confirm whether your email address is correct. It is vitally important that we have the correct email address. Otherwise, you will not be set up today. You will only be set up later. And then, Shashaba, you didn't give them the good news about the app.
The app, okay. Yeah. Okay. The good news is with the new logbook, you can actually access it offline. So there are two ways to access it offline. You can download the desktop application, which is the Windows app on your actual laptop. So you can actually work offline with that. So meaning you can see all the descriptions, you can see all the competencies. You can be able to upload your documents as well. So when you get to the office, or maybe when you become connected to the internet, and then everything will be synchronized to the web, so that your overall evaluator or your HEC principal will be able to see them. And the nice thing about this is, remember I spoke about the fourth industrial revolution, which is for IR. So one of the things that we did is you can actually, it's user-friendly, this logbook. You can download an app. You can get it on Google Play Store or Android Store. So you can download the app on your phone or your tablet, and then you can use it anytime, anywhere. And it's so simple to use. But one of the things that we have to be very careful of is when you are uploading your documents using an app or maybe a desktop, or maybe uploading your evidence holistically, you must make sure that you don't have any special characters, meaning the logbook only takes the evidence which has a proper English. So meaning an example will be when I say me and I. So me and I, instead of putting and, I put an and sign. So the logbook won't accept an evidence like that. So everything needs to be in properly written. And like your short messages, like instead of saying YOU, U, and then you say U as an alphabet. You don't take that as well. So you must be very careful when you are uploading your document. Your document, it mustn't have any special character. So the Windows app is available already. I'll show you here after we've logged in how to download that. The phone app, the Android app, is also available. You can download it anytime, anywhere. So if you have actually received your login details, you can actually go now and download that app on your phone and then put the same login details that we have provided you with and then log in with them. You will see that you will see everything there appearing. Okay. I see most of the people, they actually sending their email addresses and say activation. So we can confirm, I think we can confirm most of the trainees has actually received the email and the login details. We just need to activate them, which is okay. All right. Can we continue? I think we can continue. Any questions? Okay. In the absence of any questions, we can continue. So in here, we have, this is how the actual logbook looks. So on top, you have a cell phone numbers, which you will call. But in this, if you send an email address to this logbook at Cyber, so it will be directly actually linked to NIPA. So if you send any query regarding the logbook, and then it will be sent directly to NIPA, and then someone at NIPA's office will be able to assist you. So the main purpose of this is to make sure that by today, everyone is well equipped. But don't worry, I'll show you also, we have a one-on-one a manual which shows step by step on how to actually use the logbook. In case maybe you have forgotten, and then we discussed it in this session, and then maybe you forget about how to do certain things on the logbook, we have a manual, and then this clip also will be circulated to everyone, and then some of the 2 clips that we did previously will make sure that we made it available to everyone as well.
Yes, Shashaba, and today's session will also be recorded, and it will be available from tomorrow. So they can then use this video as well.
All right. All right, thank you. So this is how you log into your logbook. So your username always will be your email address. If your email address is wrong, it won't work. So in this case, my username is logbook@cyper.co.za, and my password is only known to me. And then you log in. So one of the first thing that you will realize here is this particular trainee, he's on his first year. He's doing his first year, and then he hasn't completed anything on the logbook currently with 0%.
Yeah. Guys, I just want to remind you that our constitution says that the training is 4 years. And we deliberately 2 years ago extended that period with a year, because we saw that most of you cannot complete the logbook in 3 years. But because we want to go international and upgrade our standards, we will have to redirect back to 3 years. Now, just think of yourself today as you are sitting there. How many years are you working, and how far is your logbook? So this logbook will track your experience that you've gained and the evidence that you've provided, how far you are with where you are supposed to be. So you might find that people that are in the offices for 3 years, but they've only done 1 year, you might find that you will have to perform additional tasks now in order to be competent. And the system will actually chuck you out. It might also be that your employer can then say, or principal, you are not good enough. You are either too slow, or you don't work enough. Your input is too little. So please make sure that when you are assigned your assignments, that you stay up to date.
Yes, that's true actually, because if you are assigned competencies and then you're not doing work, and then this can be actually escalated, like we explained, can be escalated further, because this logbook is built in a way that your HCC, which is your employer, can actually use the logbook to actually evaluate your performance, so in your performance appraisal. So this can be a tool to be used to set target for you to achieve certain milestone. If those milestones are not achieved, so it can be used as an appraisal, a sort of appraisal method when it comes to performance.
Yeah, and furthermore, most of you have in your employment contract, it says you are employed as a NIPA trainee accountant. So make sure that you cannot be employed as something else. If your contract says you are a NIPA trainee accountant and you do not perform, then we have a problem with you, and then you don't have any employment anymore if your contract at NIPA is being suspended. What is the problem? Good morning. We are experiencing problems. Just hang on. We just want to look at some of the questions.
The question was, will ATC officers provide training, or must clerks do everything as self-study?
I'm going to answer that question. Who answered the question? Oh, David. The question that you have is whether the ATCs will now still continue providing training to you on a regular basis, or must you self-study? The purpose of the NIPA traineeship, forget about what logbook, was always self-study. But because the trainees did not comply with that, principals started to provide that training. Now, if you go through this online logbook, you will see that there are webinars, everything available to you to do all your studies as and when you need them. It will also assist you with your academic performance.
And Gina is asking, good morning. What about those who are almost finished with completing the manual logbook? Do we need to convert to the electronic logbook?
Okay, I will answer that. Who is that? Gina.
Gina, yes.
Gina, unfortunately, I don't know where you are at the moment, but those trainees that qualified for a PE exam in June are going to write in November. Those trainees that are qualifying for November must register now in June already. Charlotte will make sure that she sees you before the end of June so that you can register for your PE exam in November. So previously there was a month or two before you wrote your exam from your application to when you write your exam. There is now a training period for you to train intensively for your PE exam of 5 months on Saturdays. So those of you that intend to write the PE exam in November do not have to do the logbook, but you will switch over to the Project Achiever program. People that have completed the logbook more than 50% do not have to go through the RPL route. They can, if they want to, continue in the old logbook and then switch over to Project Achiever once they reach full completion. Everybody under 50% must switch over to this logbook. Now, I had a long discussion with Prof. Small last night about this 50% over and 50% other. And at the end of the discussion, we actually said that we will put all of you on the new logbook and try and convince you to rather switch over because of the material that is available that will assist you in your PE and your final exams. For those of you who don't know, the new PE is not an oral exam. It is a written board exam. So it has changed the whole scenario on how to become a member.
And then FCS Venhu, I think they're asking 3 years from NIPA registration or from the date of employment.
Yeah, no, it is 3 years from the date when your contract has been registered. I know some of you, specifically FCS and my office, and so we first let them work, say, a 6 months period before we register the traineeship. So it is the date of your NIPA registration for the traineeship. Some of you, if the principal asked, then we backdated that date. If you completed your 6 months probation period, then we have backdated that. But if you want to know what is the date of your registration of the logbook, you can email Chrisley at reception@nipa.com.na, and he can give you the date of your registration. But most of you in your POE file have a copy of your contract in your POE, and it should also be on there. Okay.
I think it's very important to know that no one will actually be penalized for this process, but some of the people who, like Essie explained, who are actually haven't completed 50% of them, it will be compulsory for them to actually move from the old logbook to the new logbook. So what you will need to do is the migration will work as following. So you'll take your manual file that you have, and then you scan everything, align it to the competency properly. The competency code with the evidence that you have on the file needs to match with what you're going to upload on the system. So you're going to upload that, and then your ATC will approve, and then at the end of the day, NIPA will also do the final approvement of that as well. So in absence of more questions, I think we can continue. If there are no more questions. Okay. So the logbook is pretty much simple to use. You log in. When you log in as a trainee, this is everything that you're going to see. So you'll see dashboard, logbook, and support, and then CYPA trainee, and then the trainee there on top. So what will happen is each and everything in here, I will show you actually on how to use it. So like I explained, you will see we'll have a first year, second year, and third year. So in case where maybe you jumped into your fourth year, your logbook will stay on the third year until it has reached 100% in here. So your percentage will show every time when you're doing this. So you will see when you're going into an actual logbook, it will show the percentage details as per competency, and then the breakdown of everything thereof. So this is the dashboard, and then on here you have a different types of communication. So these are the notifications. It can be notifications when your OE has actually did some actions on your logbook.
Shashawari, just remember, OE is principal.
Principal, yes. Okay. While we are there, I think there's a question, because we cannot comprehend as the audio is incomplete.
We cannot comprehend as... Yeah, guys, if you've got problems with the audio or your screen, it is the internet that you are using that is too slow.
There's something happened here. I think there was a question about employment. You said, okay, we'll continue, and then Charlotte will continue to check the questions, and then where you have asked questions, we'll actually stop and answer the questions. So here we have notifications. So on every action which happens on the logbook, you'll actually see it on these notifications. So the nice thing about this is when you see that RPL has been assigned for you, you will receive this kind of notification from your OE on the logbook. If it has been approved, you will receive this, which has been approved. And then if your competency status has been changed back from where it was to another stage, you will see it here as well. I will actually show you on how to move the competency from one stage to another in terms of saying it's in progress, waiting approval, giving feedback, or completed. These are the 4 cycles that we have on the logbook currently, which will clearly state which stage are you in that particular competency after you have uploaded the document. So it's pretty much simple to use the notifications because you can actually respond on this. What you need to do, you just click on it, and then it opens. It works exactly like Outlook on your emails. So you will see on the right-hand side, you can actually compose a message if you don't want to respond to this message. And the nice part about it is you'll have a different personnel there. So one of them will actually shows the NIPA, then the NIPA contact details, and then it will show someone that you can communicate with at NIPA, and then it will show your ATC there as well. So you'll have messages on your right-hand side, you'll have draft, and then you'll have send. And then when you type in your message, you'll type your message here, and then you'll save. It works exactly like your Outlook. So it's so easy to use, and then it's so efficient. So the reason why we have this notification here is I think it's best if we centralize communication to one platform. Meaning, if you receive a feedback from your principal and then they have given you a feedback, it's better for it to come into the logbook straight on the notification than going on the emails. But you will still get an email which will direct you to the logbook straight. But the nice part is if you don't get an email, when you come here, you can actually see and respond on it from here. Okay. So if there are no questions at the moment, we will continue. So the second part of the logbook that we're going to talk about is the actual logbook itself. So when you go to your logbook, you will click logbook. And it's loading. So this is what happens. So immediately when you open it, it will show you an overall completion of the logbook. So these are the new competency that I was talking about. But for people who are still on the old competency, you will only see 4 competencies here, which are 5 actually, which are similar to what you have completed on your manual logbook. So this is how it's going to work. You will, if you want to upload any document, first let's discuss this. So here on top, we have a different 4 cycles which shows the progress on your logbook. The first one, if it's yellow, it shows that your logbook is in progress. It means that the OE has actually opened competencies for you to work on. So after you have realized that it has been opened, you will upload the documents, and then it will change to blue, which shows that awaiting for the principal's approval. When the principal has reviewed it and then they are not happy about it, they will click this one, which will say give feedback. And then when they give in feedback, it clearly shows that you need to go back and redo something. Then if they are happy with it, they will click complete. A complete will mean if it's 50%, you see now it's 50% because someone has actually uploaded. So immediately, if they have given feedback, it will move to 75. But if they say complete, I'm happy with the evidence, it will move straight to 100%. So 25% clearly shows that the logbook is open, but nothing has been uploaded. 50 means that awaiting approval. You have uploaded the document, but you're just waiting for approval. 75 means that your OE has reviewed your document, but they have given you feedback. They're not happy about what you have currently as evidence. You need to go back and redo it. 100% means that they are happy with it. Then you can continue to the next segment of the logbook.
Shishaba, maybe if I can just tell the trainees as a tip, go back to your logbook. If you see you are on 75 or 50, try and complete those sections first, because it increases the percentage on your overall completion. So don't have too many things open. Rather complete what you can, have less but complete them all, instead of having too many things open and all of them are in progress.
This is actually true because this is how it works. Your principal will actually assign competencies to you. If they assign 4 competencies, they cannot assign more if you haven't completed those ones that has been assigned to you. So you need to make sure that if you have given 5 to complete as your milestone that you need to achieve, you must make sure that before you can move to the second one, you actually complete those 5 100% completed before you can move to the next one. The nice thing about this is I think you guys are pretty much safe in terms of the old competency doesn't require one to do assessment, which you are pretty much safe. but the new trainees who are coming on board on these new competencies. So after it has reached 100% like it is now, on your site here, you will see it will show assessment. So immediately after you have completed this, it will prompt an assessment here, which you have to click, and then it will take you to another system. You complete the assessment, and then if you have passed the assessment, you need to get at least 80%. So if you didn't get 80%, you will get a second attempt. If you still don't get 80%, you'll have to go back, and then this will be 25 years. So it will be taken back to in progress. So you'll have to go back and re-upload the new set of the evidence. They're different one from that one that you have uploaded previously. And then, but this is so simple to use. We still have the same thing as one of the most important thing here is if you have applied for RPL and NIPA has approved it, you will see it will show here. But what NIPA will do is they will put the months first, and then your ATC principal will actually approve, upload, and then NIPA will actually go back again and say, we have checked this and then we are happy with it as per the portfolio of evidence that you have kept.
So maybe for those of you who don't understand what Shashaba has said now, RPL means recognition for prior learning. Now, why we've brought that in is at the end of the day, NIPA must illustrate that it is a 3-year training contract. So we cannot allow you to upload everything that you've done in the last 2 or 3 years as in 1 month. Then the system defeats itself. So we are going to go the RPL road for everybody that has completed more than 50%.
Yes.
But the others will start then or some of the elements will then start from scratch. Say, for instance, you started last year for 1 January 2018. So you should have completed now your first year. So we will open RPL for you, saying that you have completed 12 months, and then we will open up these areas for you. You will put in all the elements of your logbook that you've completed, and Charlotte and your principal have signed off. It will come in there, and then you will see the progress on the manual logbook, and the electronic logbook will be exactly the same. People that came in now, the 1st of January 2019, will not go through the RPL road, but all the other trainees will go through the RPL road. I've said to you that that everybody that has completed more than 50% of the manual logbook don't have to go through the electronic logbook, but I still want to advise you that you should rather do the RPL road and work on the electronic logbook, because it is a whole lot easier.
Yes, it's more easier, and then I think you can work as you go. So instead of every time when you have done with something, and then you have to print it out, put it in the file, what you can do is you convert it into PDF, yes, and then you save it somewhere. You can really save it on your phone, and then you can actually upload it later as an evidence. So are there any questions at the moment?
Not yet. I will show you.
Okay. So the second one, we have the category. So the category will actually shows if the competency is compulsory, which is a core, or the competency is elective. So electives, you can get away with it, but the C ones, which is a core one, you can actually not get away with it. It's compulsory, it needs to be done. So at the end of the day, all the C's will be done, and then electives, you have to choose the few that needs to be done. So it works the same as the manual logbook, whereby you needed to complete 241 competency for you to be signed off. And then this one, actually, you need 145, which is the new competency, 145 competencies, 145 assessments, which is 290. Enrico, you're asking how much time do we have to convert from manual logbook to CIPA logbook? I'm not sure, but if it will solely be up to you. If you say you want to write in November this year, so the sooner you convert into the new logbook, the better. So if you want to start now converting to prepare yourself for the exam, then you can. Or maybe if you want to sit for exam next year, in May, then you can start uploading now currently. Or even if you want to sit for exam next year in November, you can start now by moving over to the new logbook. Okay. Another question is... Okay, Jenna, I'm confused about the recognition for prior learning. This does not mean that I need to scan everything in and upload. How does this work? I'm asking because I want to write in November. So again, Jenna, it will depend what percentage are you in. So if you are more than 80% completed currently, I'm not sure, but you can actually maybe email Charlotta, or maybe you can SMS her and then tell her your percentage, what percentage are you on, and then we can take each case by its merit. So if you are on 80%, there won't be any need for you to move over. You can just complete your logbook to 100% while you're still on the manual logbook, and then you sign you off there, and then you can be able to write in November. But if you are 50% or less and then you want to write in November, that's not possible. You need to move over to the new logbook. But we'll take each case by its merit. If you see your percentages is actually approaching 100%, and then you want to write in November, you are more than welcome to contact NIPA, and then we will be able to guide you on how to go about in doing it. Okay, so we can continue. So on this, so we discussed the category, which shows that the compulsory and then the course and the electives as well. So where you upload the documents will be here. So each and every competency is structured in a way that it has a code. Remember, on your manual logbook, you have codes as well. So you will see, I think most of you have seen when you receive the email, maybe you'll see later on when you actually activate it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do this. So once we are done with this session in the morning, we're going to have another session at 12 o'clock, whereby after we have activated everyone and the trainees and the competencies have been allocated to everyone, you'll go and check. And then if you have any questions, we'll have the questions and answer session from 12 to 2 in the afternoon today. So we can continue, and then the code will be the same as the one that you see on the manual logbook. And then these are the code. So for you, when you uploading the document, it works exactly the same with the app. If you have your app on the phone, you just click on this competency code, and then it opens up. So one of the things that you'll show is a different type of descriptions. So for the new competency, we actually have breaking it into 4 segments. So we have 1, which is a description, and then we have 2, which is a practical and working training, and then we have 3, which is assessment criteria, and then we have 4, which is evidence. But you will remember well that the manual logbook that we are using currently, it only shows the last part, which is the evidence, what kind of evidence you need to upload. So this one is structured in a way that we can actually get the proper explanation in terms of when you're talking about recording transaction in compliance with accounting framework. The first thing that description will say, recording selected transaction in compliance with the accounting standards, and the practical and the working training part of it will be the trainee must be exposed to the following: recording revenue transaction, recording transaction for PPE, and then investment property, recording transaction for leases, recording transaction for foreign exchange and transaction. So from here, on practical and working training, you exactly know what to expect. And then if you look at it, you know your evidence must actually speak to this. And then when you're moving over to assessment criteria, the assessment criteria will clearly says the assessment criteria should include the following: measurement of the selected transaction, initial and subsequent recognition of the selected transaction. So meaning on that particular competency, you are only going to be assessed on these things. So you will be regarded competent if you will be able to illustrate measuring of the selected transaction, initial and subsequent recognition of the selected transaction as well. The type of evidence that is going to be accepted will be copies of the accounting records and supporting documentation. Trainees competent if they can recognize the selected transaction in compliance with the accounting standard. So one will ask, what do I do if I'm not exposed to this? That's why yesterday we had a session with the principals of the ATC just to make sure that everyone is on the same page in terms of saying, if the trainee is not exposed to this, the principal and the ATC has to make sure that they provide an adequate training for the trainee to be exposed to this. And when the ATC doesn't have those resources, and then NIPA will intervene, whereby we'll have courses, or maybe we'll have the CPDs for trainees, whereby you actually be given training on this. And then you can be able to do this, get an assessment. After writing an assessment, you'll be regarded as competent, and then you can upload that as a set of evidence. Okay, and then this is the other thing. So here you can upload your document. So when you're uploading your document, you just click upload new, and then after you have clicked upload new, when you click here, it takes you to your documents. You choose a document, and then you'll upload. One thing that you have to realize with this is it's working in a friendly way, in terms of after uploading the document, you can actually give notes to your OE saying, maybe if you want to extend about what you have uploaded as your notes, you can actually write it there and say, maybe I took this example from this, and then I took this example from that, or I did my research on this and that, and then please see my evidence there. But this is how this logbook actually works. So you can only upload one set of evidence at a time. So it means once you have uploaded one set of evidence before, you cannot upload a second set of evidence before your principal can actually review your evidence. So your evidence will only be uploaded, the second one will only be uploaded after your principal has actually reviewed the first one. So if they've reviewed the first one and then they've given you feedback, then you can upload. But maybe let's say you have made a mistake and then you have uploaded the wrong set of evidence. Unfortunately, you have to wait for your OE to give feedback, then you can be able to upload a new set of evidence. The reason why we build it like that is the trainee has a tendency of putting so many documents on one competency, and then when the principal go and review, they get confused which one is which. So it's better when we review the first one, set of evidence, and then we give you notes, or maybe we give you feedback on that, and then you can upload a second one. And then if you're still not happy about the second one, we give you feedback on that one, you can upload the third one, and then that's how is it going to be. So you won't be able to upload so many documents at a time. You can only do that if you combine it into one and then upload those documents. So the system is built in a way that it can actually take a load up to a maximum of 500 megabytes, if I'm not mistaken. 500 megabytes of data on one set of evidence. So you can upload as much pages as you want, but as one evidence combined, but not different pages. Okay. So, and then the other thing that you actually need to know here is on your right-hand side, on the evidence itself, when you have clicked your evidence code, you will see after you have uploaded your documents, you will show on the side, it will track every evidence that you have uploaded. So at the moment on this competency, no activity is done yet. So it clearly shows that the trainee hasn't uploaded anything. So if you have uploaded something, it will show here, this has been uploaded at this date. And then if it has been reviewed, it will show here that this has been reviewed. If it's approved or rejected or maybe given feedback, you will get that message as well though. So it tracks everything that you are doing on your logbook. Okay, and the other one is, if there are no questions, the other one is on top there, if I can explain. So we have different kind of things that we're going to speak about. We're going to upload, because this is the second phase of the logbook. We're still going to build it in a way that it will actually have material in it. I think we touched on that in the beginning of this session. So you will actually find that you'll be able to see notes, you'll be able to see a whole different kinds of sections that actually build that. And then you'll be able to see the videos as well. So one of the videos that you will see, you will find the videos on here. So we'll add a segment of videos here whereby you'll be able to have access to it in terms of say, how do I do evidence? And then you get a video of someone who can actually explain to you how to actually build an evidence, how to set up an evidence, and then what will be acceptable as an evidence. Over and above this here that we have as descriptions on evidence. So on top as well, if I can show you that. Okay, still loading. On top here, it shows all your details. It's important to actually take into account that you check all your details are in order. Like if your contact number here is correct, if your email ID is correct, and the sector is for old people, the sector who people who are actually on the manual logbook currently, your sector will actually show their default. So default meaning you'll be on the manual logbook and then moving over to the new logbook. So this one is a professional accountant in practice, meaning this one will be for new people who will be coming on to the learnership from June. So we are expecting they're going to use this competency. But it's very important to check if your actual details are correct and then your email addresses are correct as well. So another feature that we have here is support. So if you have any issues and then you cannot access your logbook maybe, or maybe for some reasons you're actually struggling to do some of the functions on the logbook, you can actually come here and then you click on submit a ticket, and then it will actually show NIPA here, and then the email will go to NIPA. So you can actually prioritize it, saying it's high important, medium important, and then you can actually put the title and then description of this. So the main purpose of this is to actually limit the queries from going on to emails and SMSs. So it's easier to actually lodge the queries on this platform. So it works so well here. If you actually have lodged your query, the system has those capabilities of, if there's something like your email address and stuff is incorrect, or maybe you're actually asking about a certain component, it will actually go check first if what seems to be a problem with your login details, and then it will answer you. So if the system finds that the problem is your email address, it will actually respond automatically to you. But if it's found that it might be a technical error from NIPA side or CIPA side, it will actually escalate the query to us, and then we'll be able to resolve that and then get back to you as soon as we can. So the other thing which actually has nice features is here. You can actually click on your profile, and then your profile will show you more details about yourself. This is more of a personal details. And I'm sure most of you have seen that you can actually put your picture here. You just click and then you upload your picture. And then this is more of your details, your email addresses, your physical address, and then your postal address. Just make sure all this information are correct. And then some of the things, please don't be surprised when you see that we used the South African postal codes, because some of the postal codes, you don't pick it up for now from Namibia. Freda, okay, all right. Freda, we're going to respond to your question now. Okay. And then the second one is you can actually change your password here. After you have logged in, you just come here, you change your password. And then when you click help, here, it actually downloads the user guide. Can you see it? Can you see the user guide?
Yeah.
Okay. You can actually download the user guide. So this is a user guide for trainees on how to actually use the logbook. So if you think you didn't understand anything, or maybe you have missed something, you can always go back to help file, and then you'll be able to see this again. So this is so nice that you can actually, it's on PDF. You can save it on your phone. You can save it anywhere. So especially when you want to refer now and again, can you actually go back to it anytime. So, and then we have another one, which is so special to you as trainees, which guides you on how to complete it. So we have a competency hub. So a competency hub is built in this way. So for every, like we discussed, for every recommended completed competency, we need to have a recommended completed assessment. So within your 6 months on the new competency, you will need to have 23 completed competencies, then 23 completed assessment, which is 46 in total. And then within 12 months, you'll have 42, which is 42 completed competencies, and then 42 completed assessments, and then you'll have 84. 18 months will be 68, and then 136 competency completed. So at the end of 3 years, which is, it might be possible in NIPA's concept, it might be possible to be 4 years. You must have completed 144 competency complemented by 144 assessments. In total combined is going to be 288 competencies altogether. I hope that makes sense. But at the moment, that actually won't apply to you because you are still on the manual logbook, which says you need to have completed 241 competency. And then in NIPA, the way it's structured is you can achieve those 241 competency within a 4-year period, or whatever what time where you can be able to achieve those competencies. Okay, and then when you scroll down, you will see we have a breakdown of everything. You will see that we have on the cashbook cleared, we have cause, and then we have 6 cause, and then you are required to do 6 stuff. On the new logbook and then on the new competencies, all the cause that you have or all the competencies that you have, you are required to do both your cause and electives fully. So you'll need to do 144 competency and then 144 cause, 144 cause and electives, and then 144 assessments combined for you to be signed off on your logbook, and then you'll successfully go via Project Achiever to prepare for the exam, and then you write the exam, and then you'll qualify as a professional accountant. And then here we have your RPL processes whereby you will have maybe a month. If you're saying I'm applying for 6 months, you must upload 44 competency. If you're applying for 12 months, you must upload 108 competency. If you're applying for 18 months, you must upload 178 competencies. Okay, so another thing that I want to explain to you is the following. So this is very important because immediately after you have received your login details, you must make sure you come here, you click on this. So by clicking on this, you will be downloading the Windows app for your laptop. So it means that you can work offline anywhere, anytime. So after you have downloaded this, it can actually, let me actually show you. So you will download it. Hopefully the computer will allow me to. You will download the Windows app. Okay, still downloading. But the Windows app works exactly as the online one. So it's just this one is built in a way that you can actually work anytime offline. You can upload documents, and then when you connect to the internet or Wi-Fi, and then you can synchronize directly onto the system, and then your ATC principal will be able to review and give you feedback. So as you see this, while it's still busy loading, as you see this, so this is all the components that you will have on the logbook. Are there any questions? I see there are no questions at the moment. So this is more or less on how you are actually going to use your logbook. And one of the things that I wanted to speak about is your assessments on the logbook, which currently won't apply to the guys who will be migrating over. So the assessment will be as follows. Like this person has actually completed the cashbook track, and then CAB1A, they have completed it. And then you will see that they have been given feedback here. So what will happen is immediately when this is 100%, this is just my testing profile. You will see I'll be able to click on it. So when they click here, it's loading. Okay. Let's try it again. Okay, but when you click on this, it will actually take you to to the system whereby you'll complete a set of questions. I think it's doing that because doesn't show 100% completed as yet. But when you click here on view assessment, when you click on it, it will actually go to the assessment. You have to log in and then you'll attempt assessments. And then what I wanted to show you is this Windows app over here. If you can give me a minute, please.
Must be.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay, if you can just give me a minute. Okay, still downloading. So I'll show you how the Windows app works. It's busy downloading here. So once it's done, we'll actually go into, I'll show you one-on-one on how to actually use the Windows app. But this is more or less on how you're going to use the logbook online from the trainee side. And then this is solely up to you on how you manage it and then how you do it at your own pace and then at your own time. Considering that the aim of this is to equip you to be able to be a better professional accountant after you have qualified and after you've written your exam and then qualified, you are in a position to be a better accountant when you're actually using this logbook.
And guys, you must also look at the time. Remember, the time frame is 3 years that you must complete the total logbook. And then the other thing is, when you do your assessments or your assignments, please see that you stick to the time. Remember, timing is everything for an accountant.
So true. So you need to set targets for yourself after you have been given assessments and then the assessment has been open. And we are aware that on some instances, you'll find that the ATC or maybe the ATC principal hasn't opened the competencies for the trainee. You are more than welcome to contact NIPA directly, and then NIPA will be able to actually deal with that problem. And then if it still exists, they will visit the ATC and then they will intervene.
I just want to clarify that we have had problems in the past where the principals either don't sign off. Well, in the past they did not open certain areas for you. But if at any time you feel that you have been neglected or there is not enough attention given to you, then remember the 3 legs. It's NIPA, the principal, and yourself. So in that instance, you will contact me. I will investigate, is the principal unfair to you or not by not assigning more assessments to you? Or are you too slow, or what is the problem? Address that specific problem. So that you at the end of the day will be able to make your own progress.
We have a question. The trainees want to know if NIPA will still visit the ATC for a monitoring visit and how that will work if it is electronically compiled.
Yeah, you guys have been very spoiled, but it's okay. By being seen twice a year or sometimes once a year, we will visit you randomly. You will at least be visited during the time of your training and definitely at the end of your training. But remember, because it's a self-assessment, the onus has now moved from NIPA and the principal to you. But now what is important at the end of your 3 years, that last 5 months, you will receive intensive training from NIPA side. So I think that is where the difference lay, where we will rather apply our time allocated to you in the time that you really need that. Is that good?
Yes, that's actually correct because this is how CYPA do it. I can understand why it is saying you guys are spoiled because we only visited trainees at the last year, which is the 3rd year. So at the moment, how the logbook is structured is NIPA can actually review a trainee anytime. Can actually log in and then check the trainee if the trainees are performing or not, and then you can be actually be put on the spot immediately there and there. We don't need to come to you, but we can actually check on the desktop reviews. And there is another question.
I just while you're reading that question, while you are reading,
I think Charlotte has answered it actually.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
I just want to say regarding the visits and everything. I visited Saldanha and Bellville last week, and those trainees don't even see their overall evaluator. In the bigger firms, there are a principal who is in charge of the office and an overall evaluator who is the HR, and sometimes they don't even see them. So you guys, yeah, let's try and work this thing out. And then the other thing is, remember, we are trying to make this adaptable for the new generation. In other words, the millenniums. That is you. You guys don't want to be seen. You guys just want to work. Remember. Do you have a question?
Okay, there's a nice comment here from Klaus, I think. I think she was saying this is actually an encouraging system that will bring a proper professional accountant. Thank you for that. Actually, this is what we're trying to promote. We're moving from the olden days, we're coming into the new generation. That's why I started to say fourth industrial revolution. So you need to be the accountants of style and an accountant with the international accountant. So whereby if you go anywhere in the world, you'll be able to actually match the standards internationally.
Yeah.
Not only with the IFRS, but in terms of how we do work as well, in terms of how we conduct ourselves as professional accountants. Because the passion, actually, if you have a passion for what you are doing, you'll actually be very careful on how you do it. You'll do it to the best of your ability.
Now, I just also want to say, I was, like I said, very privileged to spend a week with Prof. Small and his team. And what was exciting for me is that the new accountant will not be the one being the bean counter. That is what we are now. We are able to process, we are able to draft financial statements, and we are able to do the tax calc. With the new technology, and you guys know it's Caseware, it's DraftWorks, it's everything. People will be able to do these things themselves. And if you go back to the requirements that we have, remember, a tax computation and the compilation of financial statements is not the duty of an accounting officer. That is the duty of the firm. We are just doing it for them. Our duty is only to issue the report. But now what will change is where we work with history doing the annual financial statement. We will move over, and that gap is already getting smaller. You are getting already a lot of pressure from the banks and everything, where we will work with management statements today and the prediction for the future, where we will have to help our clients to make decisions and not to compile financial statements and do tax computations. And I think that is where it is exciting. But at this stage, we are not able to measure you whether you are at that level or not. And that is why this measuring of your performance will give the principal a better idea, and comparing two trainees with one another to say they started at the same date, they've got the same qualifications. Why can this one perform better and higher tasks or tasks at a higher level than the other person? So, Klaus, you are quite right, and thank you for that compliment, but that is exactly what we're trying to achieve, so that the people that stand out and work and apply their logic to the problem will be the person going forward.
And again, if you as a trainee, because I actually remember when I was a trainee, it was easy to get away with things, especially if you're not doing the work, and then you will actually maybe saying, I'll catch up at my own time. But this logbook system will actually expose you because everyone has access to it. So if you're not working, your principal will see that this person is not working. NIPA will always see that this person is not working. Further intervention it needs to be done. And then again, it will also help in a way that you'll find the trainees who are actually at risk. So sometimes some of them, they are not uploading anything just because they don't know, but it means that they don't know how to go about in doing it. So we'll actually definitely find a way forward that will actually best help the trainees to actually achieve what they were supposed to achieve.
I've received a WhatsApp because some of the people have problems, Shashaba, and that is regarding the time frame on the assessments. On all the assessments, there is a specific time that you need to complete the program, the assessment. If you open it and you've started it and you went away and did something else, that time is ticking. At the end of the day, you will receive 0 for that assessment. So be careful when you start the assessment that you have the time available to you to start the assessment and complete it in the same time. Is that clear? I hope so. Brunei, I hope you guys are happy.
Okay, so we just need to confirm because I was trying to actually download the Windows app here. It seems not to be cooperating with me. Okay. We'll just ask our technical guys to actually see. But we'll make sure that when we come for the second session, we actually have that desktop app, and then we'll show you how to actually go about using it. And then you'll see it's pretty much easy and simple as this one that you can see here. And then one thing that we will do on the second segment is I will change the competency to be defaulted to be what you have currently on the manual logbook, to actually see when you're talking about how to go about it. It's exactly the same thing, the same competency, but I will just to make it easy on the eye, to be familiar to you guys, so that you can actually take your manual logbook and then you'll compare to it. You'll see it's exactly the same thing. And one thing for sure is maybe when we come back, everyone will be activated, and then you'll be able to actually have a look at what you have been assigned competence, because we'll open all the competencies for everyone. Because everyone, I think, they are more or less in the second year and third year at the moment. So we'll open the competencies for everyone, and then you'll be able to see exactly what we actually spoke about.
I just want to make a comment regarding the logbook. When Shaba refers to the manual logbook, it is the logbook prior to the one that you are using now. So you might find in the new logbook that everything is not the same, but that is okay. If you don't know, then I will help you in allocating the correct competency level. Yes. So don't worry too much about the little things. If you know that in a competency level under accounting, property, plant and equipment, you've done that, and then you can already mark and upload that, although it is not in the same manner as the logbook that you are using now. I refer that now. Charlotte, how do you guys refer to that? The latest logbook? Items. Okay. Okay. So just check that it might not be the same, but it refers back to the older logbook.
You have a copy of that?
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
In the meantime, Charlotte and I will look at the new logbook and try and refer just back to the old logbook and maybe send a mail out to you. We have a whole month to do it. Oh, actually 7 months to do it. It is not the end of the world, but we would like you to start, and so that you can see your progress.
No, don't worry too much about the competency. The codes are not matching and stuff. Just get the concept, because the concept will always be the same.
The concept is the same.
Cash book will always be cash book, and then the CPJ will always be CPJ.
Yeah.
So journals will always be journals. So the concept will always be the same, but what will differ is the codes. And then the codes, I'm sure, like what Essie said, then NIPA will make sure that it is actually aligned to what you guys have. And then again, we'll treat each and every case on its own merit. So your situation won't be the same as my situation. So someone might have a different questions, or they might have a different take, saying this is not the same as this one. You are more than welcome to contact us as NIPA anytime, and then or drop us an email anytime, and then we'll be able to assist you.
Okay.
Any questions or comments?
Are we done? Yeah, okay. So guys, it is now 9 o'clock. You may now go back to work, all right? The principals are aware that you must work between 9 and 12. And we at the office will now, from now till 12 o'clock, try and do the setup, send the emails, whatever. At 12 o'clock, you must come back for a session. Will they receive the same link?
No, they must just, it will just continue running on this one.
Okay, it will be continued to run on this one, but your principals might also be present. And try and get your questions. It will more be based on a questions and answer session.
Yeah.
It is not training so much. All right. And for that, we say goodbye.
Yes. And again, guys, one last more thing. You have seen the logbook. You can go back. The aim of this is we are here to help you. That's why we have a session for the whole day. It's actually the whole day. We are here for the whole day. If you have any questions, we can actually send an email and then we'll be able to resolve it on the spot. And then,
the emails that you guys send it to reception. Make it for attention electronic logbook so that we can have those questions and emails at hand when we start at 12 o'clock.
all right. Thank you. Until we see you. I was...